Hello everyone, Darko2012 here with Global Government News, and I am reading an article titled Danish Forces Free Ship Captured by Pirates. And the pirates never actually captured the ship. They said that they somehow managed to, in rolling, rocking waves in a little skiff boat, um, climb aboard a humongous ship. And even with barbed wire and whatnot, uh, you know, five Somali pirates were able to, cause a threat to a crew of 25 individuals. And so I need to cover this article because basically I said previously that they have the Chinese and the Russians, the European Union, the UN, the Germans, the Iranians, they all have ships in the Gulf of Aden. And I was saying that there's a good possibility that they were not there for just piracy, and that piracy itself, although it's a real threat, is not a significant enough threat to have fleets of warships from every superpower cruising in the Gulf of Aden, and yet still these pirates, these Somali pirates, here's the picture of them. I mean, it's almost, I don't know, dude. To me, it's kind of a joke because I'm gonna try to cover this, and I won't be able to do it in just 10 minutes. So this is gonna be a two-part video because I'm gonna get some background here on Somalia, because I don't think a lot of people know the history of Somalia, and they used to be, just a great country, a thriving economy of trade, and they owned the water around there. Not saying literally they owned, but that was their area, right? And they were, received very highly in the Egyptian Empire. They were definitely like co-equals with the Egyptians, and the pharaohs were very close. And I saw pictures, and I've just done research prior to making this video, and so we're going to get into a little bit of history of Somalia, and why is it that these Somali pirates, where do they come from? Well, I'll tell you, most of them come from the southern part of Somalia because, of course, they've been split up, right? The history is that yes, they were a great thriving country that was powerful and noble, and they were known for their trade and their hunting and their agriculture, and then all of a sudden what happened was, well, you had the British come in. Right? That's the story with everything, right? With every conquered nation who is in the Civil War. If you look close enough, you'll see that their flag is a luminous. It is a Illuminati-style flag. They have been conquered by the European Anglo-Saxon Empire. And so they basically tore their country apart, and piece by piece, and so yeah, and so they were separated, and all the productiveness of their economy is located in the north, which was previously occupied by the British. And so these Somalians, who had, a pretty good, strong economy and country, fought off the British and the Italians, and they were constantly fighting, and they were very strong, and I guess you can consider brave fighters because they didn't want to be occupied. It was during the colonization period. And they wanted to control at least their own little area of of shipping lanes, right? That's theirs. But see, the New World Order and the United Nations, they don't like that system. The New World Order is old. It goes back to the British East India Company, where they went into China and they purposely forced opium, even though the emperors and the leaders of that country did not want it, but they knew that it would corrupt the police and all the people, and it would degrade their society, right? And so this is what you have here. And So they were able to fight off these foreign occupiers that were trying to colonize and exploit their shipping lanes and their resources. And they basically fought them off enough for hundreds of years, the Somalians, uh, to the point to where they actually had to, the British and then again the Italians and then the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the Ottoman Empire. Um, I mean, they basically capitulated to the Somalians because they were such warriors to keep them out. So they couldn't win the hearts. They couldn't defeat their hearts, right? They couldn't defeat their minds. So what did they do? They used the divide and conquer strategy. And that's what I've learned. They used the divide and conquer strategy on the Somalians, which was, oh, well, we'll just divide and conquer. We'll go in there and we'll pretty much take over the north where all the resources are, where most of the exports are, where most of the oil is, because they were smart, the British and them. They knew what they were doing, and they left them the hellhole in the south. And so most of these pirates that are out here are desperate. They do have an economy, and we'll get to that. They have an economy, and this story about this Danish, uh, you know, ship and these pirates, to me is just ridiculous. Because why do we have to have just a humongous police force? I mean, Portuguese elite frogmen or Danish frogmen, and then Portuguese Marines. I mean, dude, there's 25 guys, a crew of 25 people, a private company, private ship. Why can't they have their own private security? This is ridiculous. Come on. Why can't a private company protect their own ship? Why do they have to rely on this global police force uh, to take care of these pirates? So you got all these ships in the Gulf of Aden, like I read in my other video. Uh, Underpants bomber diversion from the buildup of warships in the Gulf of Aden, right? So you got all these ships, the Chinese merging with the Russians, creating a task force fleet specifically for this area. And where are they? Where are these Chinese, and where are the Russians, and where are the Germans, and where are all these the British warships? Where are they? I'll tell you, they're doing something else. They're doing something totally different, and they have like this Danish ship and Portuguese frogmen and Pakistani troops and whatnot. And so they got the other people taking care of whatever they're doing. And so yeah, here's their base. Yeah, here's the pirates' base. Suspected pirates' boats parked on the Indian Ocean. So here's the big bad pirates' base. And then moving on, here they come, the big bad pirates. Like from South Park, with their little skiff boat. Freaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals with a damn outboard Johnson motor, and a freaking humongous ship can't protect themselves from, how hard it is to board a big ass ship like that, dude? Just physically, with the waves, with the currents, with everything else. It's hard. It's not easy. And then when you get on board, you gotta be, I mean, these people are not trained fighters. But why can't these ships provide their own security with their own private security force? No, because the private security like Blackwater, they're not into doing stuff like that. They're into going into Pakistan and Iraq and just blowing and cutting, blowing shit up and killing people, right? For expanding. They've already conquered them, so they don't need the private security for that. They need them for conquering and exploiting and taking over more territory, expanding the empire. So they're done with Somalia, and so here we go. This is the end of the. Here we go. There's the Portuguese. I mean, look at this, guys. Seriously, I mean, these guys were just floating along, and they're rebels, right? They're in southern Somalia, and they're loyalists, right? They're traditionalists. They want the occupiers out, and they don't like the north because the north is basically surrendered. And so this is what you have going. This is the reason that these guys are going out here. They have no dignity, no history left. And I'm not sympathizing with these people, but I'm just laying out the history of why they're doing what they're doing. They weren't always pirates in Somalia. They were actually trade routes. They were actually shipping. So here we go to the second part. Check it out, please.